Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to give you guys some initial impressions on the Dell Streak 7. Now, this is the latest 7-inch Android tablet to hit the States. It's being carried exclusively by T-Mobile. It's $200 with a 2-year agreement, $450 off contract. So now that you have an idea of the pricing, let's talk about what you get out of the box. This is a 7-inch Android tablet, capacitive screen, 800 by 480 resolution, basically the same quality as what's found on the Arcos 70 and Elocity A7. Viewing angles are not great, but on the whole, the experience of what I expect to get out of an 800 by 480 resolution display for a 7-inch tablet, I'm not disappointed. Again, viewing angles not great, but why would you need really good viewing angles on a 7-inch tablet? That argument clearly can be made. The Galaxy Tab is an exception to that rule. Whether or not other manufacturers will follow suit is really a question mark at this point. But beyond the screen, you're getting a 1 gigahertz Tegra 2 processor, which if you follow my channel or any of my reviews that are tablet-based, I'm a big fan of that A9 platform that NVIDIA is pushing right now. It's definitely, in my opinion, the best performer to date. It's got 16 gigs of internal storage, an SD card slot for expansion capability of your storage, and also, of course, has a SIM card slot. It is the first 4G tablet in the States, to my knowledge, and it also has a front and rear camera. The front webcam is 1.3 megapixels, you can see it right there, and the rear is 5 megapixels with an LED flash. It also has Bluetooth and supports Wi-Fi B, G, and N. I'm trying to think if there are any other important details that I've left out, but I think I've covered everything. So let's actually, take a hands-on look at this. Again, the device is running Stage UI, which is the same interface that Dell employed on the Streak 5. So a lot of people are going to feel like this is really not a big upgrade from the Streak 5, but I disagree. You've got Gorilla Glass on that 7-inch capacitive screen, which is not scratch-proof, but definitely scratch-resistant. That's a good thing, a sign of a quality build. The overall construction is really solid. In fact, the only other tablet that, in my opinion, feels this solid is the Galaxy Tab. So, even though it's plastic, very much in the same, in my opinion, caliber of quality build as the Tab. Other things to note. You're not going to get an HDMI port here or a standard USB port, so very much in the same vein with previous Dell products. There's your proprietary charging port, your 30-pin connector, 3.5mm headphone jack, one of the 2 stereo speakers. If I flip it around here to the other side, you'll see this is the bay for the SD card slot and SIM card slot. Left side is SD, right side is SIM, I believe, yep. And then your other stereo speaker is right there. On the back of the unit, you can see we have our 5 megapixel camera with flash, a little bit of a textured finish, which is a nice touch, very similar again to the Galaxy Tab. And as far as the top of the device, or other side I should really say, you've got your power button and volume rocker. So basically that sums up what you're seeing in terms of the build on the entire construction. You've got capacitive Android buttons on the right side of the screen, by the way. The usual ones for Dell at least, which are back, menu, and home. Your 1.3 megapixel webcam on the front, as well as your light sensor and your microphone. So that pretty much sums up the entire build of this device. Really like it again in terms of the way it feels. So it seems pretty good. Battery life seems like it is on the weak side, but again, you got to remember the battery is rated at a little over 2800 mAh, so around a smaller battery than what the Elocity A7 is using. Basically the same set of internals as the Elocity, maybe even the same screen, but a completely different build and design and just quality feel that the Elocity doesn't have. The Elocity is definitely a more plastic feeling device. Trying to think of any other thoughts I can give you guys. I'll show you a little web browsing. Here we've got ESPN. Let's try going to Engadget. As you can see, it's got swipe out of the box. Full marketplace, like I mentioned. These are all good things. Is it worth $450? I'll only be able to tell you guys, after spending more time with it. Some people will say it's not, simply because of, what the competition should be bringing out, or even, they'll mention the Galaxy Tab, which in my opinion is, a dated tablet compared to this one, since it did launch today. You can see pinch to zoom is pretty much perfect on this device. I would say as good as the Galaxy Tab and iPad. So that's a really good thing. You want to see that from this display, because if you care about pinch to zoom, obviously, then that's going to be critical to your experience. On the whole, I do really like this tablet so far. I'm not going to be using T-Mobile service, so I won't be able to give you guys any insight on that. One last thing I wanted to point out, because outside of the battery life and screen quality, which I think are the things that most people have been critical about thus far in reviewing it in its very short life so far, I wanted to talk about, again, the Stage UI. There have been some question marks. Why Dell? I mentioned this earlier in the review, never completed the thought. Been some questions as to why Dell didn't do anything beyond the Stage UI, which is the same user interface that you can find on the Dell Streak 5. And I think the really obvious and simple answer is often the best. And in this case, I'm going to go with, they know that Honeycomb is launching this month on the Motorola Xoom, and most likely they'll be prepping an update for it. And that is the likely reason why Stage UI is on this device, rather than anything more customized or built by Dell. If Honeycomb, the official tablet version of the Android OS, wasn't launching this month, then I would assume Dell would have invested more in the interface on this device. Anyway, hope that this gives you guys a good, at least initial impression of what the Dell Streak 7 has to offer at its $450 off contract, $200 on contract price. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.